This time, all right, with AVNation with the Road to InfoComm 2022, the 8th through the 10th of June in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And with me to talk about Legrand's booth is my old friend, Miss Karen Schmidt. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's good to see you.
Absolutely good to see you. It means I've known her a long time, not that she actually is as old as I am by any stretch of the imagination. You guys are in W903. Your booth is W903. The W, kids, if you are following along and keeping score at home, is for the brand spanking new LVC Hall, the West Hall. So, Karen, it's been a minute since we've all been in a Legrand booth.
Yeah.
What are we going to find?
Well, we're going to find all the brands you've seen before, but we're going to squeeze a few more in than we've had previously. So you'll see more C2G, you'll see Chief, you'll see a little bit of Connect Track even. You'll see Daylight, Luxel, Middle Atlantic, Audio, and Wire Mold all together with some new products. So if you've seen us on the roadshow, you'll see everything that's there will be in the booth in grander scale. So if you have seen us out on the roadshow and you've seen our baby Sightline, that's Daylight's new screen that's we're super excited about. You'll be able to see it in grand fashion. This is our new cable drop screen, which is really cool. It's super aesthetic and gives you a lot more flexibility in your install. So if you haven't seen that one before, come check it out. You'll love it. You've got Vadio's Easy IP system for AV over IP conferencing. We're going to have a new design tool for our tiled DV LED mounts from the Chief line. So you'll be able to test that out. It'll be brand new, introduced at the show. Some performance series, HDMI cables from the C2G brand. We have a new power platform for Middle Atlantic that we're going to be introducing at the show, which is super exciting. Can't even say very much about that one. They've sworn me to secrecy. And we're also going to have some training. So every hour on the hour, we're going to have some 10-minute trainings from our experts over at the Luxel brand on some popular Pro AV networking topics. So like AV over IP, designing for Dante Audio, and we'll have giveaways of our Epic Mesh system for each one of those. So you'll want to come check it out. But biggest thing we're going to have is hybrid work. So obviously conferencing has changed and is changed forever, right? So people are going to keep working in the distributed fashion that we're working in. I'm at my house, obviously, and that's not going to change, So and people want to be seen and they want to be heard regardless of where they're sitting physically in their call, right? And so, that's the crux of AV, right? Making sure that regardless of where you are in this conversation, you can be seen, you can be heard, and meeting equity, right? So we think that we've pulled together a lot of solutions from our brands, across our brands that can work together, that can help with this, right? Creating adaptable solutions for the different conferencing environments that can scale, for all different types of organizations globally, or if you've just got one type of building, you got 6 that are across the globe, we can figure that out. But also just creating that more one-to-one experience that we've gotten used to, with everyone kind of being on that level playing field and not losing that, right? So if you haven't seen the EPTZ cameras from Vadio yet, that's one of the solutions we're going to be showing that really helps with that, right? You're going to auto track into, regardless of if it's the big conference room, if you've got 1 or 2 people in there, you're zoomed in on the people that are there, not the whole space. And it's going to adapt as people come and go. So you've got that tighter view, right? It feels more like you're talking to the person rather than, we've all been on those conference calls, right? Where there's one person sitting in the big room and then they're like the speck. Like, you can't really see what's going on, right? So it's a different experience. And then the forum system from our Middle Atlantic that we launched last year, is a new setup, but we've wrapped it in acoustical felt from one of our other Legrand brands over at FineLight to help with the audio experience and make sure that we're keeping people in a better playing field. So there's just a lot that's going to be there between EPTZ. We'll have some new carts from Chief that we're showing that add a little bit more flexibility, conferencing hubs from C2G, and showing how that all works together to really help facilitate work from anywhere.
So I want you to talk for a second about, because you mentioned something there about getting acoustic fabric from the different parts of Legrand. Legrand AV is a part of a larger corporation, Legrand, right? You guys have a lot of resources here. So talk for a second about if I'm a dealer, or even if I'm an AV user from a university of Fortune 500 and I walk into that booth, help me kind of wrap my head around how Legrand AV is able to help me kind of put together, whether it's meeting equity, repurposing a
Mm-hmm.
huddle space, whatever that means, because they still have
Mm-hmm.
the huddle rooms, right? The physical
Yeah.
infrastructure is there. What are we doing with those? How all these different brands under the umbrella of Legrand AV can be leveraged and used together.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be showing that in a couple of different spaces, but all of our sales team knows how these brands work together, and they can show how you can tie the Middle Atlantic Forum in, which uses a Chief Fusion mount on it, right, with accessories to add the EPTZ on it. It's got you've got breakouts on a lot of these products to add like the wire mold raceway that can run your cables on through. So like we're designing these products so that we're taking the other brands into consideration and not really looking at them as individual pieces as much as we used to, and more like, okay, well, how can I make sure this new camera from Vadio fits on this new mount from Chief that ties into this forum from Middle Atlantic, and then you wrap it all in the cables and connectivity from the C2G brand. So pulling Middle Atlantic, the forward compatibility system that we've got, where the different panels, and you've seen the blue like latches and accessories that we've had at the shows before, like that's all in all the Chief boxes and things now. So we're trying to design things in such a way that they'll work together to make it a lot easier to create these systems that provide equity and can be adapted, to all the different types of rooms, whether it's a huddle space, whether it's a conference room, whether it's somebody working at their desk from their house, that we have products for that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys will be in W903, the West Hall. Karen, if they're not going to InfoComm this year, but they want to follow along with everything that Legrand AV will be talking about, how do they do that?
They will visit us at legrandav.com.
All right, very good. Karen Schmidt from Legrand AV, thank you so much. We'll see her in Las Vegas the 8th through the 10th of June. But you can also find us at AVNation.tv, AVNation.tv, and follow along as we also head to InfoComm the 8th through the 10th of June in beautiful Las Vegas. All that and more at AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv.